CEO of Ocean Outcomes. Between 1950 and 1990, this was among the 10 largest landing sites in all the world. This is the Boston Fish Pier in Boston, Massachusetts, and it's where I grew up. Third generation in the fish business. I remember in the late 1970s going to work with my grandfather. He was an auction buyer in this building. There were 30 boats that were about that size. They landed 1 million kilograms of fish in a single day. I always was destined to work in the family business. And so in 1985, I graduated high school and went right to work. And I thought there would be fish forever. And there wasn't. Through the late 80s and into the early 1990s, the fish stocks in the Northwest Atlantic Ocean collapsed. And we were in the middle of it day to day. We just thought the fishermen were having a bad day. The fish moved, they weren't catching. They'll catch tomorrow, it'll be okay. But it wasn't. We tried to diversify. In the early 1990s, we started a trucking company, freight forwarding. It didn't work, and my family business went bankrupt. And I was lucky enough to go to work for one of my customers who really cared about quality, which was Whole Foods Market. I spent the next decade building up their seafood category and national leadership. But one of the things that really kind of ingrained in me is that I didn't want to see others have the same fate that we had. If this could happen in large-scale fisheries, imagine what could happen in small-scale fisheries, communities that are dependent upon seafood all around the world. So since that time, I've really been committed to sustainability. At Ocean Outcomes, we envision a world with healthy ocean ecosystems, profitable and plentiful seafood supply, and thriving seafood communities. And we do that through improvement projects, helping identify deficiencies in fisheries and helping them improve to their optimal level. Over the past 20 years, NGOs, primarily in the US, Canada, and Northern Europe, have been working on a market-based approach. And that approach has used the force of major buyers to push down the supply chain to say, we'd like you to do things in a different way to meet our policies and to reform. But they've left a large, massive group of fishers in peril. Small-scale fisheries account for about half, or 40 million tons a year of global fish catches, and employ 90% of the world's fishers. And more importantly, over 90% of the small-scale fishers land their fish that are destined for local human consumption. And so a market-based approach in the Western world does not work to help this giant group of people. And the theory of change is really off. So these aren't quite the slides, but I'm still doing okay. In traditional Milagro fashion, I changed my slides at 4:30 this morning. They don't actually line up, but we're doing okay. The small scale fishers are really in this vicious cycle, right? They have to catch high volumes. Because they catch high volumes, their quality is poor. Because the quality is poor, they get a low price for their fish. And it continues on this vicious cycle until it plateaus out when the fish supply plateaus. And then you're just in this extreme case of poverty. And although the fishers are experts at their craft, they often lack the training of basic skills such as onboard handling, quality optimization, being able to price their catch so they know what to charge and whether they're getting the right amount of money and whether they have a profit or loss. Our mission is to ensure healthy fisheries. We do this through a triple impact improvement approach to sustainability, using the improvements in the economic dimension as the incentive mechanism for ecological and social reform. The systemic approach, which we term as value recapture, analyzes over 70 indicators of business performance, including general accounting procedures, handling and storage best practices, and supply chain optimization. We then partner with local organizations to assure a portion of the recaptured value is used to address that ecological and social reform. To date, our results have been positive. We have analyzed over 28 different fleets in 5 countries, of which 10 have reached their point where their economic capacities have increased. And from those, 6 have increased their proportion of their catch to address the ecological and social issues independently verified by a third party. So besides capturing the measurable performance metrics by indicator with each of the 3 dimensions, we can report that the 6 fleets have delivered 125,000 kilograms of high quality responsible fish to market. And our goal is to have 1 million kilograms of fish to the market within 3 years. But this just isn't about numbers. A few weeks ago, I was actually able to sit down and have dinner with one of the co-op presidents at his home. He was sharing to me that this approach has changed the entire community. They really have pride in what they're doing. They can see a future where they couldn't before. And he really felt this sense of, we now are working towards something really positive and tangible. So, I want to go back. How do I go back to
Little bump go up.
So we're now at the point where we're thinking about scale. And to be honest, I'm hoping the next week will provide clarity. Let's look forward. I didn't have the luxury of passing on my family business to one of my kids. But I'm hoping this young guy gets a chance to really build a future for himself. My name is Dick Jones, and I change ocean outcomes. Thank you.